This November, we face the most important election of our lifetime. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Instead of focusing on winning arguments, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and marketing and how we can use them to win in the world of politics, teaching you how to meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Welcome to The Brian Nichols Show.
Well, hey there, folks. Brian Nichols here on The Brian Nichols Show, powered by AMP America. Thank you for joining us. As always, I am your humble host, joining you live from our Cardio Miracle Studios here in lovely Eastern Indiana. Cardio Miracle, so excited to have them as our studio sponsor, and frankly, so excited to have them as a part of my daily regimen. Truth be told, I've had a family history of high blood pressure, and I was searching for really anything out there outside of the big pharma prescription medications to help deal with my high blood pressure. And then lo and behold, Cardio Miracle ends up finding its way to yours truly. And I got to tell you, the Cardio Miracle difference is real. I've been using it now for just about half a year, and I've seen the Cardio Miracle difference for myself. So if you want to have lower blood pressure, sleep better at night, well, say thank you to Cardio Miracle's secret ingredient, nitric oxide. You want to join the tens of thousands of other folks like yours truly who are experiencing the Cardio Miracle difference for themselves? Well, head to briannicholsshow.com/heart, or head right here in the link in the show notes. You'll see the link to briannicholsshow.com/heart, which will bring you to Cardio Miracle, where you can go ahead, not only get your order of Cardio Miracle, but offer for you, yes, a exclusive 15% discount for all listeners of the Brian Nichols Show. So please make sure that you use code TBNS at checkout for your exclusive discount. One more time, Cardio Miracle, the quite literally best heart health supplement in the world. So yeah, Cardio Miracle, I'm a big fan. And yes, we are, by the way, facing the most important election of our lifetime. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but I got a couple of notes and housekeeping items we got to address. First of all, sorry, only one show last week. As you can kind of hear right now, I'm a little nasally. Yeah, that's because I'm still getting over being sick. I had a work event out in Salt Lake City back the second week of January. Was out there for about a week or so. On the way home, sat next to a really cute kid who decided he was going to cough, sneeze all over me, and shared his lovely germs. So that's fun. So I've been dealing with this for the past week now, and just now finally getting on the upswing and feeling like myself again. So that's good. And actually have a voice. Believe it or not, this is sounding good compared to what I sounded like last week. That's number one. Number two, I teased it in the intro. Yes, Brian Nichols Show, powered by AMP America. I am so excited to officially be part of the AMP America team. If you've joined me on the social medias, you've seen me on Twitter, you've seen me on Facebook sharing some articles I've been writing over at AMP America, and we've officially decided to take the next step, and that is I am now bringing the Brian Nichols Show to AMP America. Really excited to be partnering with all the amazing folks over there, and also to leverage the amazing Liberty Influencer Group that we have over there, writing some amazing articles, but also helping support the work they're doing. So going forward, very excited for the new guests we're going to have here on the show. And also 3 times a week, we're going up one more episode, going back to 3 times a week versus the 2 or 5 we've done in the past, going back to the old 3 episodes a week like we had been doing way back when. So looking forward to that change of pace. And yes, looking forward to joining the AMP America team. Now, for today's episode, you joined us for a reason, and that is to learn, well, why is it that we are saying that this November we are in fact facing the most important election of our lifetime? I have some thoughts, and of course, I'm going to share them with you. So yeah, this is the most important election of our lifetime. And yeah, I used to scoff at this hyperbolic claim made by traditionally political pundits and partisans. However, hear me out. Given this massive, unchecked expansion of government power in more recent decades, I'm now starting to take this statement more seriously. Each election presents a pivotal choice regarding the scope of authority and how we allow the federal government to assert itself over society, the economy, and yes, our personal lives. Since the New Deal era, the trajectory of American governance has moved steadily toward greater centralized control and planning. Administration after administration and congressional session after congressional session, we've watched as Washington accumulates more regulatory power, more bureaucratic agencies, more red tape, and of course, more tax and spend schemes. Slowly but surely, government authoritarianism is, yes, hurting our economy and the benefits of freedom, which are exactly what made the United States unique and special among other countries to begin with. The growth of the federal Leviathan has been enabled by members of not one, but both political parties. Democratic administrations have pushed boundaries with proposals like Obamacare, while Republicans have offered half measures at best in response. For example, let's go back to George W. Bush's budget busting wars and entitlement, and how about the entitlement expansions of Donald Trump's soaring deficits and debt accumulation? Yeah, after some short term backtracking in 2010 and 2014, which, yes, was sparked by that Tea Party revolution, the GOP has more or less given up on its promise of limited government since Trump took office and has really taken over the GOP. Yes, elections indeed have consequences. And with that, federal spending now consumes over 1/3 of America's entire economic output while totaling over an unfathomable $6 trillion per year. The modern regulatory regime has become so vast and so complex that businesses and individuals can really barely navigate their daily affairs without running into some rule or another. And even supposed moderates in the Democratic Party, like, yeah, is he a moderate? President Joe Biden, envision a dramatic acceleration of governmental authority over private enterprise. And yes, that means you as well, you, the individual, in your individual life. Given these really stark ideological differences between the two major parties, this November's contrast constitutes an unusually clear fork in the road for the Republic. And yeah, I know this goes back to a little bit of a contradiction to what I was saying before with where the GOP was and is, for that matter, and where the Democratic Party is. But let's be real. Let's be honest with ourselves. One path leads to more freedom and flourishing, while the other heads continuously towards stagnation and serfdom under a guise of idealistic central planning. The stakes for the future of constitutional liberty and governance could really never be higher. In 2013, a report was commissioned by the Obama administration entitled Liberty and Security in a Changing World, where government officials, even they, acknowledged that the long struggle to balance public order and individual rights was a little wishy-washy. In the report, it was written, quote, "The makers of our Constitution undertook to secure conditions favorable to the pursuit of happiness. They recognized the significance of man's spiritual nature, of his feelings, and of his intellect. They sought to protect Americans in their beliefs, their thoughts, their emotions, and their sensations. This protection is indispensable to the protection of security properly conceived." The report also goes on to note, quote, "In a free society, one that is genuinely committed to self-government, people are secure in that sense that they need not fear that their conversations and activities are being watched, monitored, questioned, interrogated, or scrutinized. Citizens are free from this kind of fear. In unfree societies, by contrast, there is no right to be let alone. There is no right for people to not have to struggle to organize their lives to avoid government's probing eye. The resulting unfreedom jeopardizes all at once individual liberty, self-government, economic growth, and basic ideals of citizenship. Yet, over 2 centuries ago, America's founders devised an ingenious system to disperse government power and provide checks against the overaccumulation in any one branch or any one level of a centralized authority. As James Madison assured in Federalist 45, the powers of the proposed federal government would, quote, "be few and defined, while those reserved to the states and localities would be, quote, numerous and indefinite." This carefully calibrated balance enabled the young republic to grow and thrive as a beacon of liberty in the world. However, as the federal government has metastasized over the years, swallowing state and local authorities in its wake. That framework is badly eroded, if not completely washed away today. Today, Washington sits as a nearly omnipotent ruler over vast swaths of American life. No, not George Washington, but Washington, D.C. Yeah, its dictates shape everything from what types of light bulbs we can buy, to the toilets we can flush, to the dishwashers we can use in our kitchens. No area escapes its growing reach, even the most personal realms of our personal health care, family life, or even our religious convictions. This contradicts both the Constitution and, frankly, common sense. As Nobel Prize winning economist F.A. Hayek warned, centralized state planning inevitably fails, as flawed human knowledge cannot substitute for free people pursuing their own interests. Yet in their hubris, politicians believe they can successfully coordinate immensely complex modern economies while micromanaging private lives down to the smallest detail. The contemporary failures and waste of government overreach are visible across American life. Just glance at our soaring inflation, our decaying public infrastructure, our second-rate government schools, and of course, our skyrocketing higher education costs that taxpayers are now enduring. Look at the tangled web of subsidies, of tariffs, and of regulations that benefit the wealthy and, of course, the well-connected at the expense of startups, of entrepreneurs, and of consumers. Perhaps nowhere have the costs of an unchecked government manifested more painfully than in healthcare. Federal interventions over the decades have so distorted healthcare markets that medical costs have spiraled out of control, even as services have deteriorated. But Obamacare and its planned follow-up, which was a nationalized single-payer system, they'll only make things worse by putting rules and regulations on medicine that are controlled by Washington bureaucrats. And likewise, for years, college tuition and home prices have gone up much faster than the overall inflation rates, thanks by and large to a bunch of federal housing rules and subsidies. In their arrogance, yes, it is arrogance, politicians now believe no challenge lies beyond their purview, no social ill they cannot cure. The Obama administration, for example, provided one of the clearest articulations of the boundless government conceit, saying, quote, "Well, if you got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen." And if you take this ridiculous exclamation at face value, it lets politicians, not you, control private businesses and people's personal lives however they want. It paves the way for a creeping authoritarianism that today we've seen become into a full-blown totalitarian state that could control tomorrow. And some citizens may welcome this in the misguided name of some weird sense of progress or greater efficiency and equity. But as even Ronald Reagan warned, a government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything you have. The history of the 20th century totalitarianism arose from similar utopian designs. And here in the third decade, yes, it is the third decade of the 21st century, we stand at a pivotal point in history. So yeah, that's why this November's election offers, I dare say, the starkest binary choice. One path leading towards more personal freedom, personal privacy, and individual flourishing, where the other inevitably will lead towards greater centralization, bureaucratization, and serfdom to all powerful warlords in Washington. The political and ideological differences between the two main parties make this November's election even more important for the future of constitutional freedom. I dare say, without a doubt, this is, in fact, the most important election of our lifetime. All right, folks, that's our episode for today. By the way, that's an article I wrote over at AMP America titled, "Yes, this is the most important election of our lifetime." So if you want to go ahead and check that out, I will include the link in the show notes, along with the links to, yes, AMP America, who we are very proudly powered by here at the Brian Nichols Show. Please go ahead, support AMP America and all the great work they do, as well as all the Liberty influencers who are helping produce some amazing content for the Liberty world out there. So one more time, AMP America, very thankful to be a part of their team. And I'm very thankful to have you as a part of my team. And that is my sincerest thanks to you. And thank you, of course, for sticking with us as we've been going through a bunch of changes over the past few years. And this being one of the biggest, jumping ship and joining the AMP America team. So with that being said, thank you, folks. And if you, in fact, got some value from today's episode, well, you know the drill. Go ahead, give it a share when you do. Tag yours truly at B Nichols Liberty. You can find me over on Facebook as well as on Twitter, which is now, of course, x.com, which, by the way, we are uploading our episodes in their entirety in the video format over on x.com. Go ahead, check us out over there. But of course, you can find us wherever else you get your video content, YouTube, Rumble. Also, we upload it over at Ben Swan's Sovereign. That's spelled SOVREN, which, by the way, if you are checking us out over on Sovereign, well, congratulations. You're seeing today's episode before anybody else. That's your Sovereign exclusive. But we are also wherever you get your podcast, by the way. So YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is, just hit that subscribe button, hit download all unplayed episodes, because guess what? We have over 800 episodes here of the Brian Nichols Show, and I guarantee you go through, check out at least a handful of episodes. I promise you a few of them are going to leave you educated, enlightened, and informed. With that being said, follow me again on social media at B Nichols Liberty. Send me an email, brian@briannicholsshow.com. And of course, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and support the folks who support us. That is our sponsors. So Cardio Miracle, Ebles, and our good friends over at Liquid Freedom Energy Tea. Please go ahead, give them some love, and tell them that yours truly sent you. But that's all I have for you today. With that being said, Brian Nichols signing off here on the Brian Nichols Show, powered by AMP America. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.